Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Scott Luton here with you on Supply Chain Now. Welcome to today's special live stream. Folks, today on Breaking News Now, powered by our friends at Altium, I'm telling you, we're featuring one of the best in the business when it comes to reporting and analyzing global supply chain, especially logistics. We got some big stories to get into as well. Hey, where does Prologis see the warehouse market going? How is the big A, aka Amazon, delivering millions of more packages same day? It's amazing. What changes is FedEx making on its e-commerce deliveries? We're even going to weigh in with a key takeaway or two from Manifest in Las Vegas, Manifest 2026. So stay tuned for in-the-know perspective and market intel. That's going to make you smarter and more informed going into your next business conversation, your next supply chain management conversation. So let's bring on our rock and roll star, industry star, supply chain star. I want to welcome in Max Garland, senior reporter at Supply Chain Dive. Hey, Max, good afternoon. How you doing?
Good. It's great to be back on the show, Scott. Back to the grind after all the fun we had in Las Vegas, right?
That is right. Fun. You had fun in Vegas? I worked too much.
A combination of both.
We had a little bit of fun, and it was great to see you and really enjoyed our interview, which we're publishing soon. And folks, again, we're going to talk about some key takeaways from Manifest towards the end of this Breaking News Now segment. But great to have Max back, and we're going to dive right into some of your latest reporting. And we're going to start with this story, focus on some of the recent moves that FedEx is making as it relates to its e-commerce delivery rules and regulations and policies. So, Max, tell us more.
Yeah, so I think it can all be summed up in the quote FedEx's chief customer officer, Brie Carrere, said, just about the company's strategy and what you should know as a shipper. She said, quote, if you're shipping t-shirts, FedEx might not be for you. But if you're shipping Aura rings, FedEx is for you. Now, Aura rings, I've come to find out, are these fancy smart rings, track your things like sleep, health, cost a couple $100. So the long and short of it is FedEx doesn't want to be shipping the cheap stuff, right? The t-shirts, the hats. We might order online, get delivered. Those deliveries, FedEx is saying, aren't that worth it, aren't super profitable. What they want is those fancier B2B shipments, like automotive, healthcare, data center parts, things like that. So if you've kept up with our reporting, this strategy isn't super new, not a surprise. But what was interesting to me was how clear FedEx is now about its focus. So if you ship low value goods, that might not be the volume FedEx is really going to want to chase after. So that's an important thing for shippers to note, because you want to work with the delivery partner that's focused on winning and retaining your volume, right?
That's right. And, Max, the major theme that you're communicating here, all volume is not equal. And there's been certainly a movement afoot for years now of focusing more on smarter, profitable business. Would you agree with that, Max?
Absolutely. And the thing is, usually these kind of lower cost shipments like t-shirts, they're still necessary to an extent. You got to fill up those trucks. You got to be making the most of these assets, sweating the assets, as the carriers call them. But FedEx is pretty good capacity wise. So it's, how about we shift from kind of this lower margin volume and shift to these fancier stuff like an Aura ring or a data center component, things like that.
That's right. And man, the data center market, I think I've shared this a couple times now. Some of our regular audience members will pick up on this and say, Scott, stop repeating yourself. But 3,000 data centers are under construction or formally planned just in the U.S. Doesn't include nationally. So it's a good time to supply parts to data center projects, huh?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's one. I mean, just a little preview of Manifest. But yeah, that was definitely a big takeaway for me for us, the data center segment.
Right.
Really coming hot. And for logistics partners, 3PLs, they're looking at that industry as something to prioritize in the future.
No doubt. Good stuff there, Max. Folks, we're dropping each. We're going to tackle 4 stories today. We're dropping each of Max Garland's articles right there in the chat. You're one click away. We'll take Max's. I was going to say, don't take our word for it. Take Max's word for it because he wrote it. But check it out, the article, take the full read, and of course, let us know what you think on each of these topics. Good stuff there, Max. We're off to the races with the first one. And with this next article, we're going to talk about how the real estate giant Prologis is sharing a few observations on where the warehouse market has been and where it's going. So, Max, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, if viewers remember in the year or two after COVID, demand was surging, right? Companies were fighting for U.S. warehouse space because demand was so high, and they wanted to make sure they had a ton of inventory in stock, right? Ready to go for these U.S. consumers. That made them less reliant on fast international shipping at a time when capacity was tight, slowdowns were everywhere. Remember at the ports, things like that.
Right.
Then consumer demand cooled off a bit. Companies were becoming more cautious on expansion and growth plans due to the economy, tariff concerns. And that's where we've been for the past year or two. The warehouse market has really cooled down, slowed down in terms of growth. That's been good if you're a renter. Prologis reported that logistics real estate's rents fell 6.5% in 2024. And then 2025, they dropped by 4.5%. So more of a buyer's market. But what renters need to know this year is that things might start shifting back a little bit. The rent lessened. Demand started to pick up in the second half of last year because companies felt more comfortable making longer term leasing choices. Things are uncertain, right? But they're more comfortable with that uncertainty than they were a few months earlier. So this year, I'd say expect more pressure on leasing rates, a bit less availability in the market, and a more competitive environment to find and secure warehousing if you're a prospective buyer.
You know, Max, I'll pick up on something you shared there about how we all of us, and including the C-suite that makes a lot of decisions, are indeed more comfortable with this highly uncertain environment. In fact, not only was that a major takeaway for me personally at Manifest, which we'll touch on in a minute, but also your fellow compatriots across the business reporting arena. Wall Street Journal was reporting on, I think, this story or a very similar story where C-suite officers, CEOs, and like are slightly more, or they're more. I'm not sure. I'll let other folks quantify it, but they're more confident and more comfortable with making decisions in this uncertain environment and landscape that we continue to find ourselves in. Max, did you what else comes to your mind when you think of the decision-making environment where folks are more, they're not as tentative, right, on decisions big and small? What else kind of gives you, what else tells you that we're more willing to make decisions these days?
I think part of it's just what we've seen in the warehousing environment, to keep it on that. Companies being willing to make, hey, if there is an availability, right in the middle of Dallas where a bunch of customers are, check out a suburb, check out maybe a further market where things can still be transported, a day or two out. Think about, I believe it was Phoenix as a warehousing market, really boomed when the West Coast ports, when capacity around there, the Inland Empire was tight.
Yep.
So supply chains are becoming, they're willing to be very flexible with where their warehouses are. If the rents are lower and they can still get stuff delivered or transported within a day or two, then hey, why not look out a little further? So companies are battle tested. They've been trying, experimenting a bit with their supply chains, and they see what's worked. So that's a good sign for things heading into the rest of this year.
It is. Well, Max, I hope that confident decision-making spills over into other aspects of our journeys here. Me and Amanda, and big thanks to Amanda, Joshua, and Trisha behind the scenes, tackling production as always. Went to our favorite Mexican restaurant last night with some dear friends. It took Amanda 17 minutes to figure out what she wanted to eat. Max, I was trying to get in and trying to get out. But so we need less indecisiveness. Just kidding, my dear. Just kidding. All right. So Max, let's do this. We've got a couple more stories we're going to cover with the one and only Max Garland. But let's feature this message from our friends at Altium. Hey folks, Scott Luton with Supply Chain Now here. I want to share a terrific resource for all the fast-moving, hardworking SMB teams out there making it happen. Altium Develop is a unified platform for engineers to collaborate on electronic design without enterprise complexity or clunky overhead. This innovative platform provides all participants continuous insight into the end-to-end development process so that they can co-create products together with the power of peer-to-peer collaboration. Now, Altium Develop was purpose-built for small and mid-sized organizations, and the platform helps every discipline: electrical, mechanical, software, sourcing, manufacturing. It helps them all connect and co-create on an unlimited basis, all in a shared environment that aligns data, context, and purpose, and in continuous real-time fashion. And we've got to find new ways to remove the friction, cost, and silos that slow talented teams down. Here's an opportunity to unleash your organization's full technical creativity, production velocity, and overall performance. To learn more and to take Altium Develop out for a test drive, click on the link in the comments. And as always, let us know what you think. All right, Max. Clearly, I got to expand my wardrobe a bit. But did you, I want to get you to respond. Do you find decision-making slow down in restaurants as well?
Interesting for restaurants.
Yes.
I mean, when you consider too, like sourcing for ingredients, things like that, the cost of.
Max, I'm talking about, I may have lost you for a minute on the front end, but when we sit down to eat, do your loved ones also take excessive minutes to figure out what they would like to order?
Yes. Oh, it's an eternal debate, and that can drag on as far as deciding what to eat. Man,
it can. Well, so maybe some of this decision-making certainty we were talking about in that previous piece, maybe it's going to spill over to other aspects of our journey. All right. So we're going to keep driving. We're going to talk about the big A next. And this really, we were talking about this pre-show, Max, and we're all familiar with e-commerce shifting consumer expectations and what we all of us enjoy when it comes to online ordering, returns, all that good stuff. But it is amazing what Amazon and other players are doing. Get this, the big A delivered almost 70% more items same day in 2025 than they did in 2024. Max, of course, you reported on it. What's behind the numbers here, Max?
Yeah, it's all about demand for fast shipping, but really for specific categories, Scott. So that means things like food and groceries, as we've been talking about, where, hey, I need some ingredients for tonight's dinner, or I'm craving a specific kind of candy or chip, things like that, where it's a need it now sort of order. So Amazon's seeing a lot of demand there. Same goes for essentials, like something you get at a pharmacy or a convenience store. For Amazon Prime members in the States, those categories, groceries, essentials, that made up half of all same and next day deliveries. So those orders that need to be delivered fast. And something that's interesting to me that Amazon pointed out is if a customer is shopping for perishable groceries, they're likely to add 3 times as many items to their same day delivery orders. I'm not sure about the psychology behind that, but maybe it's, hey, I'm getting this delivered fast. Why not add some stuff I'm going to need later as well? Maybe save me a trip or an order.
Right.
So some really interesting consumer side trends there too.
Well, you know who I am sure is well in the know in terms of the psychology behind that is the folks at Amazon. Another thing, Max, in a broader sense, when it comes to e-commerce. So we live out in East Atlanta, well East Atlanta, just on the fringe of the Metro Atlanta area. And one of our local Walmarts has laid out a drone. I'll call it like a mini drone airport. And it's been fascinating. We haven't gotten a drone delivery yet, but that's going to change soon. Have you seen this in your neck of the woods, Max?
Not in the Knoxville area just yet, but I mean, they're expanding pretty quick, Walmart with its drone deliveries. It started out really in Dallas, and then it kind of grew across to more states. So I'd expect it popping up in more areas soon because, hey, that's another way to get fast deliveries, right? These drones in like 30 minutes or less.
That's right. And I'm curious to see, in the ongoing arms race between plenty of other folks, but of course, Amazon and Walmart have locked horns for a while. I'm curious to see Amazon's big next leap when it comes to drone delivery, because Walmart's they have made a lot of headway, and arguably, Max, they're probably the industry leader when it comes to retail drone delivery. Would you say, Max?
They're definitely up there, if not the top option. So going forward, expect Amazon. You're talking about this rivalry. Expect them to go even faster to keep up if that's possible. Amazon's already testing 30-minute delivery in some places. Imagine that. Amazon Now is what it's called. So getting your Amazon order within the hour. Maybe that's drones. Maybe it's gig drivers doing something like that. But the front of it is delivery expectations continue to rise, right? We keep, shortening these windows.
That's right. We do. And I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. We'll save that for another show. But and Amazon Now, hey, that's kind of catchy. I like that name, Max. All right. So let's talk about Tractor Supply Company, as our friend Colin Yankee and his team are getting ready for what's next when it comes to final mile. So, Max, I shop in my local Tractor Supply Company all the time. We're coming up on Easter. They always have like little baby chicks, and duck hatchlings. You don't find that in too many stores. But, Max, what's going on with final mile here?
Yeah, so Tractor Supply is rolling out this final mile delivery plan that, in the grand scheme of things, it's going to mean Tractor Supply itself is handling a lot more of its own deliveries in-house, right? They want to do this because they found customer satisfaction is usually better when they do this, especially for kind of bigger and bulkier shipments, things
right?
Like panels, lawnmowers. That stuff can take up a lot of space on like a FedEx or a UPS truck, right? And Tractor Supply's customer base, it's often in these more kind of far out places, not necessarily near a huge distribution center. And that combination means if Tractor Supply is handing that off to a carrier, that can be pretty expensive for them as far as deliveries go. So
that's right.
Why not use your own trucks, your own equipment to deliver that yourself? So for readers this year, they got to know Tractor Supply is adding over 150 new hub locations. So these drivers and products from different facilities together, then they're delivered to customers nearby. So Tractor Supply will be able to reach over 15 million consumers through deliveries with over 1,200 stores. So company thinks that's a big win for customers, also a win for its own wallet. Tractor Supply is going to save roughly $10 million a year. They estimate in terms of freight costs due to this initiative. So it's a big undertaking, but Tractor Supply seems to be pumped. They think it's worth it.
And they are a very customer-driven organization. The consumer experience you have in their stores is A plus, at least from my experience. So, folks, go check it out and let us know what you think. What do you think from Walmart and Amazon and Tractor Supply Company? Max, quick question before we talk manifest for a second. Would you be nonplussed if someone gave your family a dozen chicks for Easter? Do you have a place to put those?
We do not. We have. I'm trying to think. I think our dogs would be too excited, maybe not in a good way, to see little baby chicks running around. Hopefully they would play nice, but we'd have to see. So I'd probably have to hand it off to a neighbor or a family member just for the sake of the chicks.
I like it. However we can broker peace, right?
Right.
Well, folks, we dropped Max's article there on Tractor Supply Company and then Amazon, all four. You'll find conveniently right there in the comments, and check it out. And make sure you follow his reporting. I'm telling you, one of the best in the business. I enjoy his perspective almost every day. Max, you don't publish an article every day, but it's got to be close.
It's about every weekday, roughly. So yeah, maybe 5-6 stories a week is usually what it averages out to. So yeah, we like to get out as much news as possible for our readers. So if you find one article you don't like, maybe try tomorrow, because we publish plenty of stories for you.
Love it. Good stuff there. Okay. So amongst all the work that you and I have on our plates, we did have a chance to catch up there in Vegas. And I interviewed you. We've got an upcoming article coming out in the next week or two on some of your thoughts here. And I want to talk about Manifest key takeaways. This is a panel session I led. This is the title photo from our most recent edition of With That Said, where we also include Max's perspective very regularly. And on this last edition, folks, we included some of our key takeaways from Manifest. Now, I'm going to share a little list here. This is not meant to be inclusive. It's not everything. It's not brand spanking new, but that's why they're big themes, right? Because they've had a chance to hit the industry, and you got a lot of folks that have really begun to wrap their heads around these. So I'm going to share these, and then I'm going to get Max's key takeaways from Manifest. So some of the things we heard about regularly, the fusion era of human and technology collaboration. Again, nothing new, but companies are really unlocking that in new and regular and deliberate ways. Evolution from what some call AI theater to big measurable outcomes. The end of Franken systems. This is interesting. The ongoing point systems versus, big full orchestration platforms and all points in between. That's going to be something to watch for the foreseeable future. Augmentation before full-on automation. And then the shrinking gap, some call it, between vision and that art of the possible and execution. That's probably a good thing. But Max, those are some of our key takeaways. What about you from Manifest?
Yeah, absolutely. There are kind of two big themes that really hit home for me. I guess one is that when it comes to delivery, right, cost is still important, but it's not going to be the end all be all in 2026. I spoke with a lot of shippers and carriers. Service could have frankly been a lot better for a lot of delivery providers last year, and it cost customers quite a bit. So companies were chasing the lowest rates, and that didn't obviously equate to good service all the time. So last year, with all the surcharges and rate increases and tariff pressures, shippers were really chasing the best deal they could find. But this year, price is still important, but shippers want more than that, right? So a lot of carriers are really looking to improve their on-time delivery reliability, reduce damages, make sure tracking is good, all that in 2026. So it's not that cost is the end-all be-all anymore. I'd say the second is that AI is still in vogue, still something that a lot of companies are pursuing and want to use to improve their supply chains, but they're being a bit more picky with it. It's not just embracing AI for the sake of it, right? They want precise, targeted benefits that has something of a return on investment that they can see happen right away, or at least in a few months' time. So if you're a vendor out there, I'd be asking, what's the ROI you can provide a company's supply chain right away or within the quarter? And for a supply chain manager, think about how good and usable is your data? How easy is it to access? Because that also plays a big part in how AI will actually benefit your company as well. So there's still a bit of a gap there.
Yeah, Max, that's a great call out on your latter point there. We had a lot of conversations around use case driven and what's the targeted problem? What does the defined successful outcome look like? And then, of course, finding the right tool, AI or otherwise. I talk about this way too much, and folks probably get tired of me beating the dead horse a bit. But, that FOMO where leaders rush out, they get AI because they see all the other companies doing big things with it, and they procure it. They don't know exactly how they're going to use it. And then, of course, Max, they throw it over the fence and let their teams figure it out. And as some of the conversations I had at Manifest, that's a double banger, because not only the first problem is you're creating so much friction and headaches and consternation with your team, right? And more work. But then it also oftentimes, what I've seen, Max, it really prevents organizations from doing great work, or at least delays organizations from finding the right problem, the right solution, the right application for said AI. So really, it hits you twice. React to that, and then I'm going to make sure, as we wrap, folks know how to find you. Max, what's your reaction to that?
Yeah, no, I agree. And AI can benefit these companies in a lot of different ways, but the companies also have to put a bit of work in, a bit of elbow grease to maximize the benefits of AI, right? Maybe you have important data that's siloed to this spreadsheet or buried on this PDF file that you need to bring up. You need to make sure all your data and information is in a good, healthy place to really maximize the benefits of AI to help it, summarize things, be good for decision making and all that. So AI isn't just going to automatically solve all your problems. You have to put in the work in too to really maximize the benefits of it.
At least not this week. We'll see what next week brings, right, Max?
Right. We'll be talking through an AI or something, Scott.
That's right. I welcome a good digital twin. Folks, check out that last edition, the most recent edition of With That Said. We're dropping a link right there. And as my dear friend Florent called it, the beehive effect, because of all the busyness and activity and the energy at Manifest. It was a great show. Okay, so Max, I think you got a pretty simple way that folks can find and connect with you, maybe give you a tip on a story or have you come in and speak at their event or just check out all your great reporting almost every day. How can folks track you down, Max?
Absolutely. The easiest way to keep up with my work is on supplychaindive.com. From there, you can either read our latest stories or you can sign up for one of our newsletters. We have daily newsletters as well as weekly newsletters that are specialized. So if you're in logistics, procurement, operations, anything across the end-to-end supply chain, we likely have something for you. So look out for our stories on all those, be it the newsletters or our website. Also, you can check out my LinkedIn. Just type in Max Garland and reach out to me. Always happy to discuss things. And also I post some of my stories there and the comment section can get pretty lively. So feel free to chime in with your thoughts as well if you stumble across them in your feed.
Max, I love it. So many folks, and I'm bad about it sometimes as well. So, but a lot of folks will drop great content, intriguing, thought-provoking content, great analysis, and then they're not part of the conversation in the comments below, but you're great at that. And folks, we dropped the link to some of the best supply chain news out there, supplychaindive.com that Max just mentioned. And then we're dropping his LinkedIn right here. You can connect and or follow Max on LinkedIn. And don't sleep on those comments. And don't think there's no drive-bys allowed. You're going to drop something in there, Max is probably going to react to it or engage with you. That's a great thing. Lots of learnings take place in those comments. Well, Max Garland, senior reporter with Supply Chain Dive. It is a pleasure to collaborate with you and learn from you. And I'm already looking forward to hopefully having you back next month.
Let's make it happen, Scott. I'm looking forward to it. And and on to the next one after Manifest. So
we'll sleep when we die, as they say, right? Man, but hey, at least it's fun. It's fun covering this incredible industry because Max, as we've talked about timeless and time and time again, it is a incredible time to be a part of global supply chain right now. Is that right?
It is. It's a fast-paced time. I think I'm still recovering after all the conversations I had. I'm impressed you were able to get all your Manifest takeaways in one nice, easy slide. I need to start doing that.
Well, Max, that is the first of, I bet, 27 more to come. We'll see, though. We'll see. And hey, when you I'll take your key takeaways anytime. And folks, let us know if you attend Manifest or if you're going to be with us at Modex or Gartner Supply Chain Symposium or others. Let us know your key takeaways. I love it. It's amazing. As much as I love the virtual conversations like me and Max have had here today, where Robert popped in from Cape Town. Robert, hope this finds you well, my friend. Great to have you part of our programming. But when you get folks together in person, in rooms, plural, big rooms, plural, it's really great to see the interactions and the learnings that take place. So give us, we want to hear from you. Give us your key takeaways. So big thanks, first off, to our global audience for tuning in here today. Hopefully you've enjoyed and learned from this conversation as much as I have. Big thanks for you being here and all of our programming. Big thanks to the one and only Max Garland at Supply Chain Dive. Max, thanks for being here, my friend.
Always appreciate your time, Scott. And until next time, we'll see each other again soon.
We sure will. Amanda and Trisha and Joshua behind the scenes, thanks so much. Of course, big thanks to our friends at All Team as well. Folks, the pace of global business velocity is only getting faster and faster. You got to stay informed by turning to trusted sources of sound information analysis, just like Max Garland here with Supply Chain Now. And be sure to tune in to Supply Chain Now wherever you get your podcast. So with all that said, Scott Luton here on behalf of our friends and our family here at Supply Chain Now, challenge you to do good, give forward, be the change that's needed. And we'll see you next time right back here on Supply Chain Now. Thanks, everybody.